all right, NBA trade deadline came and it went uh, without really, it kind of was like a turd in the wind kind of thing. And I was like, look, while did I think it was about to be some crazy big, no, that I think they're going to be like hella movement. I mean, it was, but it felt like some 2K stuff where it was just like here, there, but nothing serious. Um, I was like, let's be honest, nobody really cares about the small stuff of like McDermott going to Indiana, or people doing some trades for people to get waived. Um, we're all really here because we all feel like the Knicks made a huge trade to basically put themselves in prime spot to threaten everybody in the East. They already play hard, they're already good, but it was still like that. Even though Jalen Brunson has went to here, you know, it still was like and they went up and got Bojan Bogdanovic and Alice Burke, and I think that was really good pickups. And I really wasn't when I was thinking of the other Bogdanovic that's in Atlanta, because I was like, he can score and he can also shoot in the same similar fashion as this Bogdanovic. Man, we're gonna. I was like, anyway. But I will say that I do think that the Pistons Bogdanovic, or the ex Pistons Bogdanovic, had a little bit more grit and a little bit more of plethora of moves of getting buckets in a way that I think he fits Thibodeau's style and the rest of the team a lot. Wait, cause I was like, let's be honest, they are really a rugged team more so. And I was like, oh, he fits that. I was like, he does it in all phases. He goes to the basket. He'll get like close up shot. Whereas what I chose, I was like, he's more perimeter, like more so perimeter kind of thing. Uh, but also getting Alec Burks, who they're also familiar with, not the Knicks, but just the Knicks, the Thibodeau, and probably still a couple people on that team. Uh, I was like, he's not somebody you want to have like constant crazy minutes, because sometimes he can bust you up and be like, oh man, he scored 35 tonight. And then sometimes it's just like, hey, he got negative 2 points. But I was like, but that he can he can play point guard in a crunch. Like if Brunson's like not in the game or he's hurt or something like that. That's what I mean by him playing point guard in that type of way, because he has had those ball handling duties before, and they don't put him at point guard before. I'm not saying you want him to be your point guard. I'm saying if an injury happens, something like that, then it's like cool for right now he can do it, but let's not rely on him crazy. But I was like, but that's sort of what you needed. You needed bench players who fit that spot. I was like, you gave up Grimes, which that's going to hurt them a little bit defensively, but they sort of already got players around that same height that already do those certain type of thing. Burke is also a person that will play defense as well too, and he's a bigger guy. He's bigger than all the other guys too. I was like, he's like more like 6'6". So, and then Bogdanovic, you also got, and he's like 6'9". So it's like you got bigger while not like crazy big, because Randall doing like 6'9", 6'10" as well too. But I was like, but now you got more wings, and to me, the East, that's really what you got to defend against, is like the perimeter players. You got Giannis. I was like, Dame perimeter. You got Brown. You got Tatum. Holiday. So now I was like, even if you play Miami, Rozier, Hero, Butler, Martin, like now you got all those dudes. And then once Mitchell Robinson comes back, now you got the big man to play. Which really, without Embiid there's no big man you got to be afraid of. Like with Giannis, now you got enough long athletic dudes that can also just build that wall. But there's enough of them that you can throw at Giannis constantly. Yeah, no, I was like, out of anybody that did any trade, they the only ones that really went for it in a way that was like solidified, spots on their team, not going to throw off anything the wrong way. They got switchability with it. They also got, but I was like, Donovan's mostly, but they also got him and Burt Burke who say Hart or DiVincenzo just ain't got it going, or OG is not, if there's not, if them three doesn't have it going, because Brunson's gonna give you his amount of points regardless. Randall, I was like, I know, but I was like, to me, it's more so about how Randall plays than necessarily his point. Because I think because sometimes we'll see he gives you 20 points, but you don't feel the 20 points, or it was just there sometimes, So I'm like, he's going to give you the points. It's about his play. But I was like, with those, it's like, cool. If DiVincenzo's not scoring tonight, and, Hart, he's really more like the Draymond in this situation where he's not going to go points crazy. Or Iguodala is a better choice in this situation. You got two dudes who could give you anywhere from Burke, who could give you anywhere from like 10 to 15, and Bogdanovich, who could give you anywhere from 15 to like 30 if he needs to. And they score and they play just like how the rest of the Knicks do, where it's just like they do mid range, they do perimeter, 3-point shooting. I was like they do close shots. Like some teams, like they're pretty much gonna stay on the outside, or they really got a grind out method. I was like, they got a grind out method, but they can now shoot around you as well too, and that's what makes them dangerous. So far the trade deadline, I was like, I think there were some decent moves for teams or what, but there's nothing that makes me say in a way like with the Knicks. Like the Knicks, I'm like, nah, they're not, like with the struggle of the Bucks, I'm like, they could go for number two. And if they have to match up against the Celtics, I'm like, that's a scary matchup for the Celtics, who had the advantage of having a lot of perimeter players. And it's like, well, now you got a team that pretty much is like, okay, cool, we'll match that, and we know that at some point, if Hart is going to be called into question, y'all have been struggling with that. Toughness, y'all been struggling with that. Effort, y'all struggle with that. That's what we got, and now we got the talent to also back some of that up too. So what you gonna do now? I was like, I think they're the team that's prime. Everybody else just sort of looks, like Indiana getting Doug McDermott. I'm like, after giving up Buddy Hield, I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, they're still gonna be a good team, and they sort of get some of their 3-point shooting back. He's a bigger guy than Hill, but it's not like they over here, like now I got a 3-and-D type player, nothing like that. I was like, the Mavericks, I think their players are that they got PJ for Grant Williams. I'm like, I will say this about PJ is that I think that he'll be, if Grant Williams is not a consistent over there while playing with Dallas and doing all that stuff after he was on that heater for like a small fraction of the season, then you're gonna be fine with PJ, because PJ is at least going to do that. But I think that he will be a little bit more pumped of being the third, fourth guy on a team with Luka and Kyrie that actually had a chance of actually doing something, than being the third guy, sometimes the main guy with the Hornets. I mean, not the main guy because we got like Melo and Brandon, but but I was like, sometimes it's like, is he gonna take over? Okay, he did. He got that type of potential that's frustrating. But I'm like, with somebody with Dallas, he doesn't have to be that guy, but he can do those things, and I think that sets you up a lot better in that situation. And also getting Gafford, another big that I was like that could play defense. I was like, goes to the basket. Fits in sort of what they were already sort of doing with Lively. I was like, that's a good pickup. Patrick Beverly going to Milwaukee, not who I wish they would have snagged, but it's not a bad snag in that situation. I was like, but it's not moving anything. I was like, Xavier Tillman going to the Celtics. I was like, I think that's a nice pickup. That's a nice guy. It's another big, and that got like some toughness to him, but also we've seen how he sort of did in the playoffs, where it's like, if like he can score if need be, he doesn't have to because you got Horford, Porzingis, even Cornette and stuff. But I was like, but you could play him. You probably treat him more like Horford. He could play 4, but he could be 5. He's other side, but he gives you toughness and all that other stuff too they'll need at some point. And also just with the rotation, you never know what's going to happen to Porzingis as well too. So it's always good to have an extra big man you know that has and can step in the spots as well. Um, yeah, I was like, other than that, all the other ones were really just like salary dumps or trade, or like pick swaps. Nothing really too extravagant. Uh, just more like finagling the cap. I think some of these teams are really just trying to prime themselves of having the money enough to catch some of these buyout people. Uh, in that situation. But yeah, it wasn't nothing too much that I thought maybe that more East teams might try something with Embiid going down, the Bucks struggling. I thought the East would try to do something a lot more than the West, and I think the West is all like right there together with each other. That it's like, even though an improvement can help you jostle in that, you really sort of just got like your team that's just like, okay, cool, we're just gonna have to see how this goes. Where at the East is like, there was such a drastic difference of like these tops versus everybody on the bottom, down like one or two moves puts you up in that top spot. Um, but yeah, so I guess so. I was like, we won't fully know until we see how the buyout stuff goes. But as far as the trade stuff, I was like the Knicks. I was like they the one that made the move to jump into the whole thing. And we'll see how I guess everybody else plays around. Anyway, uh, yeah, that was the NBA trade deadline. I was like, who won or who lost? We'll see how that goes. We'll see once all the trades get. They always do that last little minute where like this person was thrown in at the last minute type of stuff. But anyway, uh, yeah. Until then, till next time.